All right, all right, all right. There we go. Fantastic. We actually got it cooking. Unbelievable. Welcome everybody. We Ebony and Heather and Sharon and Stacy and Wendy and Victor, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad that you guys decided to join us. We'll get started in just a minute. Let me tell you something. This session happening right now is an example of some of the challenges that we have for helping meet the requirements of inclusion with the deaf community. I got to tell you, we'll talk about it in just a minute. Ryan, right? Did we just run through like a buzzsaw just to get here?
We did. You are correct. Yeah, being a
Awesome.
deaf person is a full-time job, just so you know. You have to make sure that we have interpreters for almost everything that we attend. So this presentation is one of them. Think about our doctor's appointments, buying a car. Yeah, so deaf people have to think ahead of the game to really make sure that accessibility is a part of everything that they're doing. It's a
I'm
challenge.
telling you the truth. That is so right. And welcome. We're glad that we have an interpreter because that was a kind of wild last minute thing. And that's a problem in and of itself, right? So we will get started in just a minute. Let us know if you would, let us know where you're from, actually where you're residing at the moment. I'm in Woodstock, Maryland. Where are you, Ryan?
I'm in Frederick, Maryland. Not too far from you, Dave.
Not too far, just a little bit out I-70. And right before this, Ryan had to ruin my afternoon by asking me about the Ravens.
I did. I'm a Ravens fan as well. So we will both
Brutal.
share the campaign.
Ab- Absolutely freaking brutal. All right, Reno, Nevada, Bryant, Kansas, Arkansas. I'm sorry, I read Arkansas, so there you go. Sorry about that, Zara. El Paso, Texas, Anchorage, Alaska. Joanne, you win the furthest away, as far as I could tell. Maybe there's somebody from Guam coming in, but all right. Let's see, Houston, Texas, just north of that. West Virginia, Allie and friends. Hey, Allie. Severna Park, and Allie is part of the deaf community, Ryan. So that's pretty cool in and of itself.
Yes, it
And
is.
Severna Park, let's see. San Francisco, California. Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you guys joining us. Welcome everybody from all over the place, including Faye and Jacqueline from Jacksonville. Both you guys got to get together if you're not already together. All right. Well, we will be here. Oh, you can't see everyone. Oh, real quick for everybody, do yourself a favor, go up in the upper corner of Zoom, okay? And go to the view and look at the gallery view. Otherwise, when I'm talking, everybody else disappears. Now, everybody knows, Ryan, that I'm the most important person here, right? No, I'm not.
That's right, Dave.
So,
There's only three people on the screen, so it shouldn't be something that is filling your screen with lots
no,
of videos. It's just three.
it shouldn't be bad. But if you don't pick the right view, it won't put the gallery in. You want to choose the gallery view. Everybody cool with that? Give me a thumbs up if everybody has that. Everybody get it? Thumbs up. We can all reply and do cool stuff here. There we go. I love it. All right, we'll get started. Welcome everybody. We have a lot of interest in this topic, and I'm super glad because I got to meet Greg as well as Ryan several months ago, and we've done a couple of these briefings, and it's super rewarding for me to help facilitate this with CSD because there's a lot of cool things that we can do to help the deaf and hard of hearing community that we hearing people just don't understand. I'm not kidding. We just don't get it. So I want to welcome Ryan today, along with everybody else. Greg is not going to be here today. He had to get on a plane, so we'll smack him around later, right, Ryan?
Yeah, he missed all the fun.
That's right. But CSD has been in this world for a long time. And their mission, I love this. Simple. We just want to create a better world for deaf and hard of hearing people. Doesn't get any more clear than that. I love it. If you love that mission, thumbs up for everybody at CSD. And while you're giving them thumbs up, I'm going to tell you this disclaimer. It's not endorsed by federal agency, and it's for you for informational purposes only. And your participation as government personnel is not an indication of purchasing from any vendor. We do that. That's what GSA tells us to do. So we do it. And the session is being recorded, which is great because you'll be able to then pass this on to other colleagues. We really appreciate you joining us today. And we're going to start asking a couple of things, like why in the world are you here today? You want to know about new technology? Maybe you're in the deaf and hard of hearing community, and this is directly affecting you. I know Allie and friends. I know you are deaf, Allie, right? Allie friends. I always say Allie and friends. It's Allie friends. Sorry. So Allie's awesome. I get to hang out with her on Mondays at roundtables sometimes. So why are you here today? And we do love the participation. It is great. You can chat. You can raise your hand. You can put things in the Q&A. We can even promote you into this so we can see you and we can create and you can talk directly to Ryan if you're from the deaf community. Love to see that. If you would like to, just let me know. And Donna, I'm assuming that you raised your hand to say hi. So I'm going to lower your hand. If you got a question, let me know. You pop your hand back up and we'll make sure we get to you because we do like to include everybody here. As part of this, you will get the session docs. I'm going to pop those in just 1 minute. I got to grab those from another place. And when you get this, I'm going to pop this in right now for the session docs. Let me get my chat. There we go. Those are the session docs. And please let me know that when you click on that link, it goes to something that looks like this. There's a ton of information in there for you that supports this information. Everybody can get that? Yes? Does it work? Does that link work for you? All right. Janelle says yes. So Janelle is the only, we're in good shape. All right, we got it. Okay. So we will go through, you'll have the presentation, that's part of that, but there's also some reference docs. There was a recent forum, right, Ryan, that you participated in?
Yes, I was. Yes. It was a forum that happened at the end of July. There was going to be some notes that I'll share from that here today.
Love that. We'll talk about presidential memorandum. We'll talk about U.S. code. Well, not really. We're just going to show you some of it because neither one of us are qualified to talk about U.S. code. Are we, Ryan? I know I'm not. So, but we will go and talk about the communication, the video technology, because that's what you guys are all about. And I really love this stuff. So here's introductions. We'll get to some introductions about CSD in just a minute. But federal initiatives, talk about the update on the DVC forum with the FCC, and just looking at the gaps here and start really getting to a place of improving the deaf experience and comparing some of the technologies. Sound like a plan? So Ryan, I know a little bit about CSD. How long have you been there?
So I've been with CSD for more than 3.5 years, and it's really cool to see the impact that we've made on our community in that short amount of time. CSD has been around for more than 50 years, almost 50 years, we'll say. It's a nonprofit, and the goal at CSD is to improve the quality of life for deaf and hard of hearing people by breaking down communication barriers. We'll be talking a little bit more about communication barriers later on in this presentation, but we're looking at different ways to overcome those barriers in our work, whether it's in a public setting, the workplace, federal agencies. That is our main goal.
I love it. I'm answering Allie because she's asking about because she can't hear. So hopefully, can you go ahead and tell her to go to the top and click the view button and choose What
Yeah,
is
click
it?
gallery view at the top right corner. You'll see that option view. And then you'll be able to see 3 screens, including the interpreter.
All right, 1 second. I'm gonna just do this, make sure. Because this is one of the challenges. Everybody that's here, and we're hearing individuals. If you just look at what's happening right now, so that just Allie and Allie can see the interpreter, is what Ryan and Allie live with every freaking day. Right, Ryan? This is what you have to deal with every day.
Yeah, unfortunately it is. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom. There are no gallery view options in the top. Hold on a second. 1 second. Stacy, hold on a second. I'm going to allow you to talk. Stacy Parker, you there? We're going to try to solve this problem for everybody. I think. You there, Stacy? You can unmute if you want, if you can. This is very strange because I thought that we had this all iced down with Zoom. Oh, the Zoom web doesn't have the gallery. You have to do it. That would kind of make sense, I guess. All right. Well, one thing's for sure. The recording of this is going to have the interpreter on it. I can tell you that. Stacy, you good? You need me? Pop it in the chat if you would. All right. Just a little bit about CSD. Like it says, hey, you guys are founded in 75. You're located in Austin, Texas, but you also have offices around. You're up here near DC.
Yeah,
right?
correct. And we also are 100% remote as a company, even though our headquarters is located in Austin, Texas. I want to say that we started back in 1975. We were the first TTY relay provider. Maybe you've heard of the TTY. It's a technology that should be in a museum. Unfortunately, some federal agencies still consider a TTY as a minimum type of qualification method. We'll talk about that more later. But yeah, we started as a relay provider and we were that for a very long time. And then in the 2000s, webcams became a new norm because of the new technology that was developing. And we shifted into video relay services. We're going to call that a VRS service. Looks very similar to this situation here. You have a hearing person that's on the phone, not on a video screen, that's talking to a sign language interpreter. And the interpreter is able to make a phone call on behalf of the deaf person. And that deaf person is able to sign what they're saying to the interpreter. The interpreter is able to see it on a video screen, and they're able to facilitate the message between the hearing caller and the deaf caller. And again, it's done with a video screen between the deaf person and the interpreter. And that was the best solution for about 20 years. Recently, CSD started to look into the VRS industry and said, hey, why are we contributing to the interpreter economy instead of it contributing to the deaf ecosystem? So we started looking at the idea of having a deaf person sit within a company like a government agency contact center and start supporting deaf callers directly. We still will always need interpreters for various reasons. That is true. But when we're talking about customer experiences and customer services, we want to have direct video calling, and that's what we're going to be talking about today in our presentation, direct video calling. So that's our history, 1975 to today.
Love it, love it, love it. Thank you very much. And you are a small business and a GSA contract holder. So we'll talk
Yes,
about
we
that
are.
a
We're
little
on
bit.
GSA's website. Exactly. We just got on that website and we're really excited about that.
That's awesome. So, real quick, just from your perspective, you're looking at deaf and hard of hearing folks go across all the same cross section of the United States, right?
Yes, that's right.
So you can see here that it's not just one particular race or any other ethnicity. We are talking about just a cross section of the United States, which is exactly why I love what Ryan just said about, hey, what would it be like if you actually had a deaf person communicating with a deaf person handling the customer support? Because we're going to have an experience in just a minute. I'm hoping for everybody that is not deaf or hard of hearing to be able to see what it's like. So, but as we get into this, what is your role in the customer experience and DEIA? Are you in HR? Are you in IT and doing the web systems? Because we were in the FCC event the other day, they were talking about 508 compliance, which it directly affects the web systems. Maybe you're in a call center. Maybe you're working and serving folks in customer support. Maybe you are making sure that you're compliant. Maybe you're on the hot seat for making sure things are compliant, right? And so let us know where you are in the food chain as well, because one of the most important things is this goes across the agency, right, Ryan? It's not just the top dogs. It goes all the way through the agency so that you guys can communicate effectively, right?
That's correct. It requires the whole agency to buy into an idea like this. It can't just be top heavy.
That's correct. So we're going to give you another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any wallflowers? Last minute wallflowers? Last second wallflowers? There's wallflowers, Ryan. They're coming out of the woodwork, though. I can tell you, we're almost at 60%. As soon as we hit 60%, there it is. All right, thank you very much. I'm going to share this real quick so that everybody can see where we are. 51% are in HR, and 41% are their goal is to make sure their agency is compliant with the DEIA. Cool? Awesome. And we can see we have some director folks. We really appreciate you guys joining us because we know there's plenty of things happening right now in September. That's for sure. And I love this. 55%, Ryan, on the front lines working with people who need help. Does it get any better than that?
They know, they experience the pain points firsthand.
You know that's true. All right, so real quick, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this. I just want to let you know in your handouts, you have the Americans with Disabilities Act. This directly affects things. It talks about telecommunications relay services that Ryan was just talking about. You have the FCC, the components that are there. You have the FEMA has components there, as well as executive orders from the president dealing with diversity and also transforming customer experience. Have fun reading all that lovely documentation. I will say that you also have the Communications Video and Technologies Act. So there's acts, there's EOs that are coming and helping the agencies. Number one, understand there is an issue, because 99 times out of 100, in fact, more than that for us hearing people, I'll tell you this, Ryan, we're not thinking about it because it's out of sight, out of mind. No offense to anybody else here. I'm not thinking about it. And until I start talking with Ryan or talking with somebody else from the deaf or hard of hearing community. And that's why I want to get the update here about what happened at the DVC forum with the FCC. You can click on this. You can see the whole video. Really good stuff, I think. Right, Ryan?
Really good stuff. Yeah, this actually happened again at the end of July. And this was the first time the FCC brought everyone into the same room to have a discussion, whether there was a DVC provider or a company that was already providing DVC. So we had 2 separate panel sessions during this event, and they included representatives from companies and agencies that provide DVC and representatives from well-known deaf community members to talk on the benefits of DVC. They all talked highly of it, and I will explain why it's needed and why it's a modern solution for deaf and hard of hearing people instead of relying on traditional relay service models.
So, what some of the things that you were actually there, and you had I see in the low. I actually saw this earlier. Look at this right here, right down in the corner over here. You see that? That's the CSD logo. I didn't realize it was even there until just a second ago. But I was that you were there. You were representing. You also had some reference docs that we included here that you provided to the forum to talk about what direct video calling is. We're going to see some of that. We're also talking about the data there's a lot of information that you guys provided, as well as case studies on how it improves the effectiveness, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I want to let everybody know about that. Is there any other comments that you have, Ryan, about the session itself, and what anything
Actually,
happening that you really want to let people know about?
yeah, we had several representatives from different agencies that either went in person or were joining remotely. And they were finally able to recognize the need for DBC. But this is just the beginning. We need more people from different agencies to start looking at DBC as the best solution. Most accessible, it's as the most accessible and equitable solution for deaf and hard of hearing people.
I love it. So we're gonna see some examples of that. So we can help folks that may not be familiar, Ryan. One of the things that
Right.
is that you as a deaf individual, right? You're doing the same things for the most part that the rest of the world is doing, right?
Right, exactly. My favorite story here that I tend to share is that when I went to a conference in California, I left my home and I drove to the airport, and I got to the airport, parked my car, walked to the front gate, got my boarding pass, went through TSA, security check, went to my gate, got on the airplane, landed in California at the airport, got an Uber to the hotel, got my hotel key, and I had no issues in that whole entire experience. The only time the disability showed up is when somebody tried to talk to me. So that's my disability. When other people try to talk to me and they don't know my language, that's my disability. Think about that. Other than that, I can function just fine.
So
At the same conference, when I got my hotel key, I was walking to my elevator and I was waiting for the elevator to open. And I had a blind guy. So it was an accessibility conference. So we had a diverse amount of people with needs there. And there was a blind individual in front of me, and he was struggling to find the elevator. He had his guide dog, and he actually hit the wall twice trying to find the elevator. Of course, I tried to help him get into the elevator with me. We got in there, went upstairs, went up to my room. He went to his room. And that same evening, that conference had their open night reception. And I walked into a giant ballroom that was full of people all talking. And that same blind man was seated in the middle of the room talking with a variety of people, while I was standing by the wall waiting for my interpreter to arrive. So
mm,
it's interesting to think about how we both have our own challenges in depending on the context. He had more of a physical challenge. I had more of a communication challenge. So keep that in mind when you think about disabled people. They don't all face the same challenges. It's not a one size fits all game.
so true. Wow. I always love to hear you tell these stories, Ryan, because it helps me understand just the gap, right? The huge gap. And you guys are doing these conferences, you're paying taxes, you can see on the bottom corner, just like everybody else, right? But you want to be able to participate. You just want to be able to communicate and participate. Mm.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when I contact a federal government agency, for example, as a US citizen, I expect the most fluent, equitable, and accessible experience and not have to go through hurdles to get that.
And part of those hurdles deal with interpreters, right? Um, and the fact that you actually need a third party, right?
Unfortunately, yes. There's a big difference between the interpreter you see today and a video relay service interpreter. Janina is on our preferred interpreter list, the interpreter we have today. We've picked her because she's seen our presentations in the past. She knows our talking points. She knows our material. She knows what we stand for. Now, when it comes to a video relay service interpreter, that's a different ballgame. It's actually a first come, first served type of interpreting model. So that interpreter that you get could have just gotten their license yesterday. They basically have a queue and the interpreter gets the first call available. So maybe that interpreter just got a 911 call and then they get my IRS call next. And maybe they have a pizza order after my call, right? So you can see the variety of calls that they're getting. VRI, video remote interpreting, which we have now, and video relay service interpreting is different. So we're having a great experience here, but that doesn't mean my video relay service interpreting experience would be as successful.
So for everybody here that isn't part of the deaf and hard of hearing community, I want you to think about this. What if every time you had to do one of these things, deal with your social security number, deal with your banking information, and dealing with a health issue, you had to tell somebody you never met, who's a third person not associated or affiliated with an official agency, and you have to bear your soul that way. Anybody have a comment about that? Did you want to put in the chat or pop your hand up and we can talk about that? How would you feel if every time that happened? Go
I
ahead.
have something I could add too, Dave. So actually on the IRS website, if you go to their website, it states very clearly that the VRS interpreters are not allowed to tell a deaf caller if the caller sounds like a scam or a fraudulent caller. So the interpreter has to remain loyal to the message and interpret it, because it's not in the interpreter's role to tell a deaf caller like, hey, this person sounds fake, or like this is a scam. It's actually against the VRS official policy. So on the IRS website, you will see a statement that says that VRS interpreters are not allowed to tell a deaf caller if a call seems like a scam. And so it's left to the deaf person to assume whether or not it's actually the IRS calling or not. So that also
Wow.
applies to other federal agencies as well.
Can I set that aside for a minute, because my blood pressure is already going up? Is that okay? Well, and I want to say, hey, Joanne, very vulnerable. Absolutely. Mindy, extremely uncomfortable, right? Extremely uncomfortable. And I don't even like to give that out. She says, I don't even like to give that out when I know it's okay. Right? And Allie, so wrong. You are right. Deaf people must know if it's scammed, right? Very uncomfortable, especially now with all security breaches and lack of trust. Michael, absolutely. So this is what I love about this, because we get a reframe on our life right now. It's just my head gets reframed every time we talk about that. Yes, and here, if you look at the challenges, security, right? We're just talking about security. We don't even want to tell people. Data breaches happening every day, all out of our control, right, Ryan? You didn't have any control over any of that stuff. And your personal information, safety, go ahead.
There is always a risk, when there's a normal hearing person that is sharing their information through the phone or through email. Now, with a deaf person, they take on a higher risk because there's a third party involved in that process. So there's more people involved in a call. Obviously, there's a higher risk at that information being taken advantage
And
of.
you mentioned it too. Is it accurate? How do you even know what you're saying is getting accurately transmitted, right? You don't know.
Exactly.
And and what about nuances? All right, I'm just going to throw this out for the hearing people. I want you to think of the difference between somebody from New York City and Alabama, and tell me we got our own issues when we're trying to communicate, because New Yorkers want to talk really, really fast and really, really loud, and folks down south, I got an uncle, my wife's uncle. I can't understand a word he says because he's because he's Southern. He's awesome. One of my favorite people. But the same thing happens here, doesn't it, Ryan?
Absolutely. Yeah. Another challenge is that when I connect with a VRS interpreter, that particular interpreter could be located anywhere in the country. So let's say I want to call my local Social Security office in Maryland. I am perhaps connecting to an interpreter from Oklahoma. And then the interpreter is going to try their best to spell out the right county names in my area, the right city names, the zip codes, but they have no idea what Maryland local zip codes or towns or counties are called.
Man, that is crazy. Crazy. All right. And then you have your limited talent pool. And we do have a rock star of an interpreter here. I can tell you that. Just saying. So, for just from a top level, 93% of the deaf community want a direct connection. That's what you want, Ryan. Am I right?
That is correct. Yes.
Is there anybody here?
People prefer to have a direct communication point of access. The other 70%, sorry, 7% probably didn't understand the question.
That's probably true. So, and you deserve, does anybody here believe that Ryan does not deserve equal access and everything else that we get access to? Right? And there you go. Ollie's saying I prefer 100%.
I hope not.
Yep, hope not. Better not. You need another job if you do. And improving, this is the problem, right? We're looking at ways to improve things for the masses, and then folks get left behind. And that's why we're here to train, hire customer service, actually use deaf people to be part of your customer service team. That's an HR move. That's a senior level move to make that an initiative within your agency. Wouldn't you agree, Ryan?
I agree. Yeah. And
implementing.
it's really fully focused on the customer experience and supporting the customer. We would love to see deaf people in the federal government agencies supporting deaf callers directly. But if a deaf person wants to call their hearing best friend, of course, they can still use a video relay service interpreter. That's fine. However, this is more focused on the customer experience, and there's no reason why we can't have deaf trained representatives supporting deaf callers.
Love it. All right, so we're gonna get this next part, which is what deaf accessible technology does your organization use right now? And you're probably using something. Right now, we're using the live interpreter, right, Ryan? That's where we are. We're living in that world right this minute. But there are things that are being released. Obviously, you've been using TTY, right?
That's right. We're also using a video remote interpreter today. Exactly.
Exactly. So when we compare these technologies, right, we do have AI, right? AI captioning. That's always right, Ryan?
Yeah, right. It's getting there. Not quite.
Subtitles. That's always right too, isn't it?
I wish.
What does make it easier and better is when you have video-based communications like this. Zoom has got to be this particular type of a scenario as opposed to what you had when you were growing up, right? This has got to be way cool because HD and things like that, right?
Yeah, technology has gotten a lot better in the last 20 years, and that has made deaf people's lives a lot easier for sure. But that doesn't mean that we're going to stop getting better. We want to continue looking at better solutions and continuing to pursue those better solutions.
Oh, I agree with that entirely. And I think that just the gaps that we had here, and I already forgot all the challenges it took just to get you here with an interpreter. Right? Just to have this happen. It almost didn't happen, right, Ryan? Almost didn't happen.
Almost.
So with that, I'm going to leave this open another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for what you guys are doing in your organizations. Let's take a look for this. Ready for this, Ryan? So 65% is the top, which is subtitles and captioning. Live interpreters right next to that, right? Fantastic. A lot of folks are using video relay services and video conferencing. That's better than nothing, right? Right, Ryan?
Yeah, it is better than nothing, but it's not the best solution.
But it's not the best. And what are we going to talk about that's the best solution this must be it. So we're going to show an example here of ASL Now. Give us a high level of ASL Now because that's one of your products, right?
It is. Yes, that's right. So this is what we are calling the most equitable and accessible call experience for deaf people. With DVC, or direct video calling, this will allow federal government agencies to hire and train deaf representatives and have them support all of their deaf callers and eliminate the need for having a third-party interpreter involved. I know that some of you all have chat support or email support. That's great. Keep that in place, but don't make deaf people choose an alternative choice in their language. If their hearing callers can call you, make sure that the deaf callers can call you with an equitable experience instead of forcing them to rely on a third-party interpreter for obvious reasons like we've already mentioned. The different risks involved by adding an extra person in the call when we're talking about sensitive and private information, government-related information. There's no reason why we couldn't have a deaf person sitting in your contact center to support those deaf callers. We could have as little as 2 to 3 deaf trained representatives to support all of your deaf callers across the country. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
Fantastic. Here's a great example of that.
Hello, I'm Jeff with Gov. How can I help you? I need assistance with making sure my tax return was submitted right. I'm happy to help you with this. First, can I have your name, please? Sure, my name is Dre Riley. Thank you, Dre. Can you share your social security number, please? My social security number is... Thank you. I see your social security number and name in our system. Do you have a state-issued ID, such as a current driver's license? I do. Great. Can you show me your ID on camera so I can verify your identity, please? Thank you. Thank you. I've confirmed your identity in the system. Now, how can I help you with your tax return? I submitted my tax return 2 weeks ago, but I have not received my refund. I'm nervous that it didn't go through. I see. Let me investigate this. It seems your tax return has been received. It should be processed any day now. Can you confirm how you requested the refund? Yes, I asked for a check to be mailed to me. My address is the same as showed on the driver's license. I see that on your file. The check should be on its way to you as the next batch is being sent out next week. I recommend calling back in a week, or 2 if it doesn't arrive by then. Okay, I'll do that. I've made a note that you've called to check in on the refund. As a courtesy, I'm going to send you a confirmation email of your tax filing. You'll receive an email confirmation shortly. First, can you verify your email address? Sure. It's dreriley22@email.com. Thank you. That matches what we have on file. The email should arrive in your inbox any second now. Is there anything else I can do for you? No, that's all. Thank you, and I appreciate it. You have a great day.
So there you go, folks. That's a great example of what we can see. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so this is not a real video. This is a paid actor doing this, but it's an example of what it should look like. Just having 2 individuals involved in the call. We have a trained deaf representative trained to support the agency, and then the deaf caller. So just 2 people, simple. And that's what we're pursuing.
Fantastic. Sharon, can you go ahead and unmute? You raised your hand. Can you unmute by chance? If you can, great. If not, if you could put what you need in the chat, that'd be great. And we do have a hard stop. This is one of the other problems that we have, right, Ryan? We have a hard stop in 5 minutes because the interpreter's got to roll out. So guess what? We're going to have to bring this on, bring this a little bit quicker through, right? So these are some of the benefits. Ultimately, it's helping serve you and the deaf community, right, Ryan? That's what we want.
That is correct. Yes. We are also PCI compliant. We can be HIPAA compliant as well if that's needed. So we are full equitable contact center, and we just support different languages like ASL.
Love it.
We are currently partnering with Comcast and Cox Communications, Google, and the US Aging, different other state and federal agencies, and we're looking forward to adding more agencies that can provide direct video calling services.
Absolutely. And you can see some of the benefits that the FCC is calling out for enhancing the accessibility as well as the customer experience. And so the next steps that we like to present to you: engage your DEIA team and your CX team and get together with some folks from CSD to look at your agency approach to figure out what's the best way to do it. And Ryan, you guys will be clear about what you can do and what you can't do, right?
That's right.
And so, and review your processes so that you're enhancing the deaf community experience and deaf customer experience, as well as leveraging. Listen, these guys have been doing this since the 70s. If there's anything that you need to know about the impact on the deaf community, these folks are going to know about it. So first things first, there is a deaf hearing gap. Everybody here experienced it. We're all experiencing it just from the interpretation as well. But you can imagine what it would be like if you had a rotten interpreter and there was practically gibberish, right? Gibberish to you, Ryan, because the interpreter wasn't well trained, right?
That's right. Yep.
So,
And it takes a good interpreter. Excuse the interpreter. That was incorrect. It is a luxury to have a good interpreter.
that is true. That is true. And so Ali says, yes, we often experience this every day. Imagine if every day we had to, and we do run into this sometimes where we just can't communicate with somebody on customer service, right? Language barriers that we have, right? But this is an everyday thing. And man, oh man, I'm hoping this helps you guys. So use CSD. They're a great resource, and you can make a difference in helping to adopt and implement direct video calling technology within your agency. Hire deaf people to service deaf people. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. So we do want to get you guys out of here. And I know we got a hard stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask this next poll. And while we're doing that, I'll get us wrapped up to get us out of here. Does that sound good? So continuing the conversation, using DVC in your agency, participate in a DVC pilot, and or would you like to be part of the next DVC briefing and conversation? And when do you want that information? We know the fiscal year's ending. And as I mentioned, there is no obligation to purchase from any vendor, including CSD. But if you wanna, you can. Why? Because they have a GSA contract and they have a ton of experience in this space. Please, please, please reach out, engage CSD, even if it's just for consultation. And Ryan, how much do you charge for a consultation to talk to somebody?
We don't have any fixed amount. We don't charge for the consultation. Typically, we're focused on the quality of life and improving that for deaf people. So if you're interested, we're here to help.
Love it. And so included in this, you're going to get a video recording. The session docs are all here. If you missed those, I'm going to pop them in right now. Just one more time, if you want to grab that link, that'll be active, but you will get a recap email with that. and you can do one meetings with Ryan and his team. Pilot programs are available. And with that, we have about 30 seconds to get the interpreter out of here, Ryan. So awesome, awesome, awesome job.
Thank you so much, Dave. Thank you for having us. Appreciate it. Look forward to continuing this conversation with all of you.
Fantastic. Thank you for being a great interpreter.
Thank you all. Bye.
All right, folks, we're gonna get you out of here because we don't want to have Ryan not be able to talk. But there you go, Ryan, great individual. So please reach out to him. Thank you so much for joining us. You are welcome, Crystal. You are welcome, Joan. You're welcome, Janelle. Everybody else, great. Did Ryan do pretty good? Thumbs up for Ryan since he already bailed out of here. Thumbs up for Ryan if he did good. I thought he did excellent. Thank you very much for joining us. Thanks for letting us help everybody just get this in our brains. Love you guys. Thanks for what you're doing for this country, especially in September with the craziness that you're up against, and for being here today. Love you guys. Appreciate you so much. Have a great rest of the September and try to stay sane at the end. See you guys.